Mildred Avenue. My name is Christina Reeves Barber, and I am the proud principal. I'm in my second year. I'm so excited to welcome our students and families back. Our teachers have been working so hard these past few weeks, diving into curriculum, planning lessons, and really making sure the classrooms are safe and welcoming environments for our students. So we are just really excited to welcome our students. We have amazing students, wonderful families, so much support from the district. Really special thank you to Mayor Wu and Superintendent Skipper and everyone just for their support and just making this a wonderful day. And really, we're looking for a great year.
Christina, how grateful are you that there's AC in the building tonight?
Yes, I am super grateful. Obviously, it's a wonderful thing being in a newer building, but we're really grateful that there is AC so students can learn comfortably. All right. Great.
So just a big thank you to Principal Reeves Barber. As you can see, they set everything up here at Mildred to welcome the students, to make them just feel so special on the first day, and you could see that in their smiles as they were coming through, their energy. Of course, the older kids, a little bit more to kind of get in there, but the older kids really just very joyful. Parents really thankful to be able to hand students to us safely and know that they're going to go in and learn and have a great time. Mayor and I had an opportunity at the bus yard to really thank the bus drivers, the bus monitors, all of the people that helped get our students back and forth safely. We were able to ride one of the electric buses and rode with particularly one young student that I had a conversation with who was going into the first grade here and who was very excited. And as you can see, we'll spend the day kind of going out to schools, just enjoying, seeing how the staff is prepared for the students' welcome back. This is going to be an incredible year. This is a year that we're starting so strong from last year, fully staffed, with bus drivers, with monitors, 200 more than last year, really food service. I can't wait to get into the cafeterias and see a lot of the scratch cooking that's happening. And the teachers, can't say enough. Many of them worked over the summer. They're back here. They've been preparing, ready to welcome our young people. We have President Tang from the BTU that's here with us. I mean, this is just really everybody supporting as one team here in BPS. So wonderful day. Thank you for all coming out and being able to see it and share it.
It's an incredibly exciting day and morning. First of all, I'm excited to get my own two off to school as well. We've been counting down the days in my household, and just seeing the smiles on everyone's faces here. A whole lot of work goes into making sure we're prepared on every possible aspect, from staffing to the logistics. And so I just want to echo the incredible thanks to our school leaders and educators and everyone in central office and all of the families who have been really working hard to make sure that we could have the best possible day. Every young person in Boston deserves to have the red carpet rolled out for them, to every possible opportunity we can create, and our schools are one of the best platforms to really connect in not just the teaching and learning, which is going to be even at a higher level this year, but all of the sports and arts and internships and other opportunities. Really, the entire city should be the classroom for our young people, and we thank our educators so much for opening up the whole world to them. I also want to recognize that City Councilor at Large Ruthie Lujen is here, having dropped off her niece today. So all of us are very invested in the school system and doing everything we can to support the wonderful work that's happening in BPS.
You think you feel better prepared this year with Boston schools?
Yeah, I mean, the superintendent has shared some of the numbers in terms of, compared to this time last year, if I think about where we were on the very first day of school, Superintendent Skipper had not yet started yet. We were in the middle of the Orange Line shutdown. We were short in terms of many of the kind of key areas that really make schools tick, and have been working hard since then to implement new contracts and recruit and create new hiring pipelines. And so from bus drivers and bus monitors, the fact that there are 200 more bus monitors in place now compared to the first day of school last year is a huge sign of just how healthy the hiring pipeline is and how much interest and excitement there is to be part of this district. And everything from food service, getting our kitchens back up and running. I'll hand it over to the superintendent because she has a lot more detail on all the many ways, but it's really to show that this day and marking the start of the school year, you can't prepare for it just the day before. I mean, we were out knocking on doors and reaching out to students the day before, but everything has been months, almost a full year in the planning to make sure that we had the best possible start to this year, and I think we're going to feel it with the great results, and you see it already in the high energy and excitement of all the families coming back in.
Mayor, can you
Hold on, one more. I want to make sure the superintendent gets in on this.
Sure. Yeah, I think you know, to the mayor's point, whether we spent a lot of this past year really in foundation and making sure that, you know, we're a large enterprise, you know, with 50,000 students and, you know, 11,000 plus staff and 119 buildings. It's, you know, on any given day, transporting 21,000 students across the city. There's a lot of movement and moving pieces. And so we worked really hard on the foundational systems to get those into place. So whether that was food service, whether that was the facilities in the buildings, you know, whether that was transportation, hiring of staff, and then there's the academics where, you know, literally in summer school we had 17,000 students all summer, you know, so that they're having continuous learning throughout the year. Additionally, you know, our staff, our teachers, our principals all went to extensive PD over the summer to ready themselves for the year. We're excited for inclusive learning this year as we start to do our planning for that, our deep planning with the rollout next year for that. You know, we just early college and career at the high school level. There's just so many exciting things that are happening, and at the same time, we need to make sure that the nuts and bolts of the BPS work. So we feel really good about the progress we made in so many different areas, and you know, we'll never be satisfied. We're always going to be about continuous learning under this team and under Mayor Wu's leadership. So.
Superintendent, are you able to talk about progress between, you know, last year to this year? Moving forward, what are some of the things that you feel like still need to be worked on that you want to accomplish this year?
Well, one big thing is I think we've learned from the bus drivers that we can't rely on people just to appear. We have to develop. And so a big piece of why we're able to start fully staffed actually with more bus drivers in training is because we started our own pipeline. We started our own CDL for that. I think there is critical needs areas in teaching that we need to do similar for. And that would be in science and mathematics, as you can imagine, the STEM areas. I think English language, for our English language learners, ESL is another, and special education. These will be areas that we'll be creating our own pipeline programs with higher ed so that we are fully staffed next year in all of those areas. I also think we will continue to make sure that our staff is diverse and represents the students. This is really critical, and that is in race and culture and language and experience. And so really recruiting and developing is going to be a big push and piece for us. We had the least turnover of leadership core in a decade here in BPS, having, Principal Reeves-Barber and other principals who are staying here and us investing in them and developing them is critical because a strong principal core leads to a strong district. We'll be doing the same with the assistant principal pipeline. So really around human resource development. And then looking at all of our systems to see where efficiencies are and how we can be the best service provider possible.
Superintendent, back to the heat. Can you talk about what conditions
would warrant a shorter day?
Well, I think with us, as I indicated earlier, we have the majority of our buildings have AC. We've worked hard on this. There's 3,800 additional units from last year, and so really for us, it's 14 buildings where the electrical upgrade was sort of is in question of what we can do. 2 of those we feel confident we can. And then there's 5 others that are in a stage of getting the ACs put in. We are always going to monitor, just like cold, we're always going to monitor those extremities. I think for us, we've ensuring with fans in those sites that don't have AC to make sure that the room temperatures are as cool as possible. Additionally, we'll be opening up with custodial staff the windows at the coolest times of the night and the morning, early morning, to do that air exchange. And then obviously lots of bottled water. The reality, as I think the mayor said earlier, for many of our students who don't have AC at home, being in school with AC for the majority of our schools, that's the safest place that they can be, the healthiest place they can be. And for the others, for the other schools, we'll continue to find ways. Some of this is going to mean through Green New Deal us getting new buildings. Right, this is the key point. So we'll be looking and monitoring all of those. Mayor,
does the heat emergency help you?
Well, I think it certainly helps in the out of school hours, right? To make sure that there's cooling. Families that don't have any kind of cool area to go to or students that they'll have a place to be able to go to, certainly. We obviously want to make sure, whether it's athletics or outside activities or even in school, that the kids are hydrating. That is one of the major things. So we've delivered lots of water to all of the schools, and we'll be monitoring throughout the day the temperatures as well as the water situation.
Last question. I just wanted to make sure that presenting your counselor went away.
Jessica, are you satisfied with what's being done? I know there's some schools that don't have AC.
Right.
Except going to today.
That's right. So, I mean, one, I want to acknowledge and appreciate Mary Wu, superintendent, and the team, because these are very long overdue changes that were needed. And in a relatively short amount of time, since this administration started, the AC implementation has been happening. And so we've been in schools over, the last few days where educators have all been doing professional development and checking in all the different issues, and they've been very responsive. We've been in touch with them over the last few days. But obviously, if you are in one of those classrooms that doesn't yet have the AC because the electrical wasn't able to, have it be, upgraded. That's what we've been hearing. So like I said yesterday, we were in touch with their team, and we're literally naming rooms where there were issues or the AC hadn't been installed, and they were on it. And it's going to be tough, obviously, and we want to see 100% done. But the good news is the vast majority of schools that we visited do have the AC in place, and they are so relieved. It makes such a difference. The heat is no longer a distraction, and they're able to actually focus on their learning. And so the amount of progress that's been made in the last few years is, I think, extremely significant and worth noting.
What's different about this year for teachers?
Well, I think that everyone's feeling very hopeful, and we finally, I think, are in a place coming out of the pandemic where there's stability, and we have much better staffing levels than we've had in the past. I was reflecting on when I started teaching, in 2005, and we didn't have furniture, we didn't have AC for sure, we didn't have a lot of the resources and supplies that teachers need to really start the year off right. And visiting the schools yesterday and seeing the teachers prepare, there have been significant changes in this district that show, I think, the resources that have been put into the schools. And so that does feel really different for our educators, and just having great desks, for example, and whiteboard, paper, books, resources. Those things obviously matter for our educators.
Can you talk about the awesome responsibility our teachers have of getting all these kids out of the starting gate in these early years? The difference between success in life and maybe.
Yeah, well, I think that's why the district's been focused so much on literacy, is because we know that students are learning how to read until third grade and really then switch to reading in order to learn. And so there's been a lot of professional development and work and making sure that those early years are strong. But I think that, the superintendent could definitely speak on this as well. But, starting the school year off right really is a partnership. And so when we're working together and all rowing in the same direction, it really sets up our students and educators for success. And then, of course, we have to problem solve where there's problems. But this year, we really feel a lot more confident and really hopeful about the school year. And the educators we've talked to have all felt really positive and really prepared.
Thanks, everyone. I'm going to get Ruth in too, if you want to say anything.
Hi, everyone. At-large City Councilor Ruth Louisiane here. It was just a joy to be here with the red carpet and welcome our kids to school with these lovely pencils and to send them off with encouragement. But I was here primarily because my niece started, and this is her first day at the Mildred, and just wanted to make sure that she felt at home here. I am so incredibly grateful for the leadership of Principal Reese-Barber and what Mildred School is in this community. It really is a community school with really strong leadership, echoing what the superintendent stated. Leadership is so important, stable leadership is so important for all of our kids. And I just want to thank all of the bus drivers, all the parents, the teachers involved in making this a great first day despite the heat, so that our kids can really reach all of their potential and realize that the sky is the limit. And it's all of us together. It's leadership, it's elected officials, it's the schools, it's our nonprofit, Sean Brown here with BAM, welcoming and loving on our kids. That's what our kids need. They need adults in their lives who love them and who will help them realize their full potential. And as a BPS graduate, this is beautiful. And we'll be out at all our schools throughout the city, my team and other employees of the city of Boston, because it takes a village to raise our kids, and that's what we're doing every day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Habla en español rapidito, por favor.
Sobre la comienza de...
Sí, el comienzo del día de clases. Más que nada, ¿cómo están preparadas las aulas de clase con
hoy es la comienza del año nuevo escolar y para todos los estudiantes y padres y familias es un día muy emocionante. Para el distrito es un momento, hace muchas preparaciones, hace meses, para avanzar el sistema sobre el empleo o transportación o la coordinación entre las escuelas y la oficina central. Entonces, este año tenemos mucha esperanza sobre la estabilidad y progreso de ese distrito. Y con todos los estudiantes es un momento de alegría y especialmente para mí como madre de dos niños en la escuela pública también. Como siempre, tengo un poco de ansiedad sobre este momento para sus niños, pero con la bienvenida aquí y todas las preparaciones es, para mí es un momento de feliz y también.
Gracias. Gracias, alcalde. Que tenga buen día.